Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining me from in the world. I'm Jack Tar Lad. This is my ship, the Salt Pig. Welcome aboard for another Wednesday night broadside on a Thursday. First things first, I guess, if you don't mind, like, subscribe, click the bell, comment in the chat, comment down below, share the stream, please. Just trying to build the channel up. Well, it's been a hell of a week, hasn't it? I mean, we had the Ohio train derailment come to light after nearly 2 weeks of it sitting there smouldering. And I've got a investigation coming up on that. I've been doing some digging into the company Norfolk Southern, and so I'm writing a report on that. I'm also writing a piece for my Substack, because you can read my stuff over there at jacktarlad.substack.com, and I'll just take you over there. There you go. That's me, Jack Tarlad Substack. So if you do want to go over there, check it out. I've got one little article that I've put up there as like a little tester. Go and check it out. But yeah, that Ohio train derailment was an absolute horror. And something really needs to be done about that. Someone needs to answer for that. I have been tweeting little bits out of the research as well. So you can catch me on Twitter as well, at JackTarLad. Come and check me out. I'm constantly on there. What have we got lined up for this week, though? Well, I wanted to talk about the UK crime rates, and in particular the sort of rise in knife crime amongst youngsters. And this has come in the wake of the murder of Brianna Ghey. And if you don't know who that is or what's happened behind that, you'll find out in a bit. We're going to look into Nicola Sturgeon, or Jimmy Krankie as she's sometimes known. Nicola Sturgeon is the Scots Premier, and she's decided to resign. So we're going to take a look into what the rags have been saying about that. And finally, we're going to talk about the migrant crisis, the housing of migrants in hotels, the recent Knowsley riots in Liverpool. And I say riots in quotation marks, but we're going to be taking a look into that because there's an actual reason behind all of these riots and this protest that's going on, and it's being completely politicized as, you know, right and left, and it doesn't really have anything to do with right and left. It has everything to do with safety, public safety. And so I guess we'll start with the UK crime rates. Don't forget, if you want to check me out on Twitter, there I am, at JackTarLad. Also my Substack there. Where are we going to start? I've lost my place already. Ah, there we go. Okie dokie. I don't know whether you can read that, but it doesn't really matter. I'm going to read it out to you anyway. So, a few days ago, a young girl by the name of Brianna Ghey was murdered by two people. I believe a 15-year-old and a 16-year-old have been taken into custody at this moment on suspicion of the murder. And in some articles, it's saying that this was a targeted attack and that this may be hate-related. And the reason why it's hate related is because, or the reason why it could be hate related is because Brianna is a trans girl, and she was a trans girl, and she wanted to be known as Brianna Ghey, and so in her death, I'm sure that's probably what her final wish would have been. So I'm going to continue to use her name. But she was a boy at one point, that she decided that she wanted to live her life as a girl. And it was pretty short-lived, because on her way to somewhere, on a way through like a park, she was stabbed. And I can show you here. So this is Colchester Park in Warrington. And this path here is an old railway line. We've got loads of them all over the country. You can see if I scroll out here, you can see the sort of path that it takes that way. It's inconsequential, but I'm just sort of giving you an idea of where this was and what it is. So this is the path that was taken. She's walking along it, and then she gets attacked somewhere along here, along this path. So we have disused railways. They take the track up, and they leave the track bed there, and people walk their dogs there, all that kind of stuff, all over the UK. So it's not unusual to go walking around in those sorts of places. And so we're going to just quickly go through some of these articles, figure out who was Brianna and what happened to her. So the Sun is reporting here. In February 2023, the murder of a 16-year-old girl shocked the nation. Brianna Ghey's body was tragically found at Linear Park in Colchester on February 11th. So 5 days ago. Brianna Ghey, 16, was from the Birchwood area of Warrington. The 16-year-old's family described her as much-loved daughter, granddaughter, and baby sister. In a statement, her loved ones added she was a larger-than-life character who would leave a lasting impression on all that met her. Brianna was beautiful, witty, hilarious. Brianna was strong, fearless, and one of a kind. What happened to Brianna Ghey? On February 11th, emergency services rushed to Linear Park after Brianna's body was discovered. Police received calls that the teen had been found with serious injuries and raced to the popular park around 3 p.m. Tragically, Brianna was pronounced dead at the scene. A murder investigation was quickly launched into what police described as a targeted attack. On the evening of February 12th, police confirmed two teenagers had been arrested on suspicion of murder. They said the boy and girl, both 15, were remanded in custody. A statement from Cheshire Police said detectives have arrested two teenagers following the death of a 16-year-old Brianna Ghey in Warrington. Emergency service. We've read all this just now. I hate it when they do that. They double up on the report in the. As part of ongoing inquiries, a 15-year-old boy and a 15-year-old girl, both from the local area, have been arrested on suspicion of murder. They are currently in custody, assisting police with their investigations. And earlier, Detective Chief Superintendent Mike Evans of Cheshire Police described it as a targeted attack on Brianna during a busy day at the park. He added, this is a truly awful attack on a 16-year-old girl who has sadly lost her life, her very short life. The cop said they were keen to speak to anyone who had been in the park from around 1:30 to 4 p.m. on Saturday. And so lots of people have been paying their respects to Brianna Ghey, and she's been trending on Twitter. And one of the things that she has been trending on Twitter for is people have been using the hashtag say her name. And people of colour have got a little bit upset about that because apparently it was made, that phrase was made for them. I don't really give a shit, you know. It's like, why you gotta hijack everything? Fuck off. Okay, a girl's been murdered and they're just trying to bring a light to it, you know, shine a light on it, and you gotta be there. Oh, well, that's our word. Fuck off. Give me a break. But anyway, Brianna Ghey, let's just take a look. Some of the things that have been going on. I mean, there have been vigils all over the country, in Ireland as well. There was a big one in Dublin. Here's one in Wales, in Cardiff. I mean, just look, hang on. See, there's been one in London. I'm sure there was one up in Birmingham as well. Everywhere. Manchester, you name it. People have been out there. See? Now, one of the things that have come out about this is because she's trans, a lot of people have been hijacking it for the sort of trans movement. And I suppose until the evidence has been produced by the, you know, the investigation, the police are saying it was a targeted attack, but no one's saying yet that it was because she was trans. Although there is evidence to support that's the case because she was bullied before all this happened. But it's kind of being hijacked, and I don't know. It's just, look, we'll go through it, because I'll lose my place. Let's have a look. Right. So, let's just take a look at the story on the suspects. 2 teenagers charged with murder remanded into custody. As we've already spoken about. Jesus Christ, I've got to get a new mouse. Okay, so the pair appeared at Chester Magistrates Court, sitting as a youth court this morning, and this article was written on Wednesday the 15th of February. Okay, so on Wednesday the 15th of February, the 2 teenagers who were remanded in custody appeared at Chester Magistrates Court, sitting as a youth court this morning, and were not required to enter pleas to the charge. Prosecutor Leanne Gallagher told the court Brianne's death was extremely brutal and punishing. The 2 suspects spoke only to confirm their names and addresses during the short hearing. Both were supported by their parents in court, with the girl's mother and father appearing emotional as she was brought into the courtroom. The pair were remanded into youth detention by District Judge Jack McGarver to appear at Liverpool Crown Court tomorrow. So Yeah, because it's a murder charge. They've gone to magistrates. They've decided yes, this has got to go to Crown Court, and so there you go. So they would have appeared there today, this morning. Brianna was found with serious injuries on the pathway by members of the public in Linear Park. We spoke about that. Emergency services, yada yada. Brianna was one of a kind. The charges come after Brianna's family paid tribute, describing her as a larger-than-life character. And, it seems like she was, because she had this TikTok channel, or this TikTok, feed as well. I've actually been able to manage to pull some of the videos on the Google web cache, because if you actually go to her TikTok now, it's been made private. But, things on the internet are there forever. And so, or maybe it's been taken down now. Here you go. Here's one of the videos. There's no sound, by the way, on these saves, because it's like the Google web cache. That's another version of that sped up. I mean, there's plenty of pictures of her. She's all over TikTok. There's, she was she just a wannabe sort of social media influencer, just living her best life, trying to be happy, being who she wanted to be. And sadly, she was murdered by stabbing by two children of a very similar age. I mean, it really is sad. There's nothing to be said about it. And it's got absolutely nothing to do with the fact that she's trans. That it is sad that this has happened. I mean, and like I said, until the evidence comes out, we don't know whether or not this was like hate motivated and it was because she was a trans person. There's no saying that. But where's the article? Here we go. Worrying videos. Brianna Ghey said she was excluded from school in TikTok days before murder as pals claim trans teen was bullied. Pals of a schoolgirl who was stabbed to death in a targeted attack, going through it all again. She had several different aliases as well. In fact, looking at this picture now, that was one that I wasn't even aware of until just this very moment. But there are other ones that she had several on TikTok and all over social media. Come on, where's the bit where it's talking about what friends said? And just 5 days before her death, she posted a video with the caption, "Got excluded from school." It shows the teen wearing her Birchwood Community High School uniform in her bedroom. The video comes as her friends claim Brianna had been bullied at school. One claimed she had been bullied in school for years. The teachers obviously knew. Another alleged she was bullied and gang beaten for years for the simple reason of being trans. Her high school and Cheshire police refused to intervene. Emma Mills, head teacher at the school, said, "We are shocked and truly devastated to hear of the death of Brianna. This is understandably very difficult and distressing a time for many, and we will do our utmost to support our pupils and wider community." And the family are thanking people for the support and witnesses helping the investigation. It's going through some of the other things that I've already mentioned here. Police are going to check CCTV and dashcam footage. Information can be reported online here. I've used The Sun, by the way. The Sun is a complete rag, but I trust them to give us the sort of gruesome, bare-knuckle details of everything that's kind of going on with this. Constant abuse. Trans teen Brianna Ghey devastated at abuse from bullies and said she was crying at everything before her murder. Lots of things that we've already spoken about. Apparently this is something that she tweeted at me after feeling like I'm going crazy because I have such intense mood swings, crying over everything, she said there. Lots of things that I've already spoken about here. They often repeat all the reporting. This is one of the problems with the Sun. Damien Harry, whose daughter was pals with Brianna, told the Mailer online he believes she was verbally and physically abused because she was trans. She said she was devastated by the constant abuse and even talked of ending it all. It was down to her being trans. It is disgusting what happened. Disgusting. Her dad has apparently said he raised safeguarding issues at the school 1,000 times, but little was done. The abuse was constant, all because she was different. Let's be frank, she was bullied because of her sexuality. Of course, this is a hate crime. Brianna's death comes just a week after she told her online pals she was crying over everything. She posted... Oh yeah, I've already read it out. There's another tweet saying, or another video saying she'd been excluded. And then going on to sort of explain what the school and her family have paid tribute, how they've paid tribute to her. And so, look, this is obviously very, very sad. It does certainly hold, it begs the question of what are we teaching our children still with regards to how people want to feel about themselves and, individuality and just the respect of that. But kids are really fucking nasty. You know what I mean? It's nothing new. I'm not trying to minimize her death at all because it's absolutely tragic. But this is nothing new. Kids have been bullying one another for ages, and even when I was in school, you wouldn't openly come out as gay because you'd just be taken the piss out of and bullied constantly and maybe even beaten up when I was at school. I'm not saying that's right. I'm just saying that that's where it is. And with, the way that society is changing and people have become more accepting of trans people and, homosexuals in general, it's slowly starting to fade, but unfortunately it is still there especially in children. When they grow out of that, trying to impress their schoolmates phase, it becomes a little bit different. But I mean, not all people grow up. Loads of people still, want to act in that way when they're adults. That's why you've always had gay bashers. And a lot of the gay blokes that I speak to talk about, like, gay bashers being the ones who are usually closeted. Those are the ones who have got... In fact, I remember speaking to this one gay guy, and he said, you know, because he's quite promiscuous, and he said, yeah, I've like had guys who pretend that they're straight, and that, you know, even after the fact of having a, you know, a suck or whatever, they're still saying, oh, I'm not gay, I'm not gay. You see what I mean? It's this mentality some people, some blokes have. Anyway, going a little bit off point. There's always been gay bashing. I'm not saying it's right. And it's slowly starting to fade away. But just the sort of outpouring of support for her, basically. I mean, just look at these. If I type in Brianna Ghey vigils, I mean, seriously, just look at this. Here you go, you got Lotus Eaters even talking about it. Campaigners chant "fuck Keir Starmer" at Brianna Ghey vigil. Why? What are you doing there? It's not about that. You see what I mean about the politicising of things? Why have you got to do that? This isn't about black people. This isn't about trans people. This is about a kid has lost their life. Okay? And the reason why I'm getting into all this is simply because of that. I mean, I said to you that I did... I've been using The Sun as a source. Well, it was easy to search within one website. And I know that The Sun report on these kinds of things because they like to stir up, you know, fucking hatred and shit like that. So I did a Google search on The Sun with just the word stabbing. And you got here, boy 13 arrested after teen 16 fighting for his life. Schoolboy 15 stabbed outside Sainsbury's. 3 men found stabbed inside a pub. Girl 16 stabbed to death in Horotog. Oh, that's Brianna. Man 19 arrested after teenager dies in hospital. Boy 15 guilty of stabbing IT expert 53 outside an Asda. Boy 16 charged with murder after Holly Newton 15 was murdered. Teen 18 stabbed to death in brazen attack in front of somewhere in Ipswich. And we're just going to take a quick look at a couple of these. Like, here you go. Boy 13 arrested after teen 16 fighting for his life from stabbing outside McDonald's. 16-year-old is currently fighting for his life. Oh, when was this, by the way? Just so that we know. 14th of February, 2023. That's when this was published. Okay, so this was after Brianna Ghey. So a 17-year-old boy and a 13-year-old boy were arrested on suspicion of conspiring to cause grievous bodily harm. Chief Superintendent Joe Banks said, this is a fast-moving investigation. The public will see significant police presence around the city centre or the town centre as we establish the full circumstances. We are exploring a number of lines of inquiry to the identity of those responsible and bring them into custody. I would ask anybody who witnessed anything, blah de blah de blah, the same old shit. And again, one of the ones that we just looked at, schoolboy 15 stabbed outside Sainsbury's by balaclava thug with machete as parents and kids cowered in fear. Witnesses have said how a schoolboy was stabbed outside a Sainsbury's by a thug with a machete in broad daylight. The 15-year-old was attacked on Sutton High Street near Crown Road around 4 p.m. on Monday while parents and kids cowered in fear. The cops have the sun is so fucking... Anyway, cops have arrested 2 teens on suspicion of attempted murder and robbery. One witness told My London, I was on my way to work and I saw 2 young boys running out of Sainsbury's at the bottom of Sutton, one with a machete and the other one unarmed. They literally ran straight past me and I froze. I watched this boy get chased across the road, past Halfords, and then into the road by the Crown bus stop. There he got stabbed and collapsed, but then ran off. I tried to find them, but I couldn't. I told the staff in Sainsbury's who had already seen them running through the shop and were onto it. It was actually quite frightening. I rushed to get into work. Oh, how terrible it must have been for you to have to go through that. Imagine what it was like for that fucking lad who got stabbed. So where am I going with this? Well, it seems like we seem to have a major problem with, you know, teens stabbing. Yeah, look, Holly Newton stabbing mum's tribute to baby girl, 15, who's missed beyond words. I mean, you can go online, you can check out these stories for yourself. But it's pretty much just the same story. Some people of a similar age, all around, you know, 13 to, let's say, 19, it seems. I know that's quite a broad range, but it's teenagers, isn't it? 13 to 19 is teenage years, all of the teenage years. Seems like the majority of them are very young teenagers. One of the problems that we seem to have in the UK especially is this gang glorification, this gang culture glorification. Everyone's got to be a bad man. And you're not a bad man, you're a dickhead. Everyone's got to be a road man, you get me? Yeah, because I'm gangster innit, I'm a G. You're not a G, you're a dickhead. You're carrying a knife around and you're going to end someone's life over a little tiff just because someone disrespected you. You're a dickhead. Let's take a look at some of the crime rates. This website is Statista. They pull together, you know, all of the statistics, put them into a nice little dashboard for you, so you can check it all out. Anyway, so this is looking at a graph with the period of 2008/9 to 2020 to 2021. The number of homicide offences involving a knife or sharp instrument in England and Wales. And it seems to be that around 2017-18, that's the highest on this chart here. Just go to another quick graph. Number of police recorded possession of weapon offences in England and Wales from 2002/3 to 2021/22. And as you can see here, from 2002, it sort of goes up a little bit, then about 2004-5 starts to go down until we reach about 2013, 14, and then it starts to rise again. And we're now actually seeing the highest recorded possession of weapons offences in the last 20 years. Just go to another quick graph. This is the number of police recorded violence against the person offences. That's like muggings and stabbings and beatings and, all that kind of stuff. 2002 to 2003, 2002 to 2022. So another 20 years. And as we can see, there's a slight raise at the beginning of those 20 years. And then it dips down again around 2012, 13, and then 14, it starts to drastically rise. And now, once again, in 2022, we're seeing the highest recorded violence against the person offences in England and Wales. Murders are surprisingly down. But one thing I just want you to note about this graph here is that from 2002 to 2014, we start to see that trend again, that downward slope towards 2014, 15. And then it shoots up again around 2016, 17, 18, and sort of plateaus. And although it went down a little bit in 2021, we've sort of averaged over the last 5 years. So homicides have not gone up or down over the last 5 years in England and Wales. Here's a graph of all the sort of police recorded crime offences for the last 2 decades. And as you can see again, the start of the 2 decades at 2002, it's a lovely little dip going down to 2012, 2013, and then 2014 you can see starts to go up again. And once again we're experiencing record highs of crime in England and Wales. And finally this graph. Oh, come on, give me a break. I was using this yesterday. So just so we can have a quick look. The black line is the crime rate per 1,000. And you can see the same trend, a very big dip as we go down over, from 2002 till 2012, and then the dip starts to slow around 2014, and then it just skyrockets again, with 2021 being lower than 2022. That's almost uncanny that dip exists in 2021, because it's going up gracefully, and lovely graceful arc there you can see, and then all of a sudden it juts down and then back up again. And if we have a look at some of the other crime rates, look, 2021, we can see there that little dip. Where else? There you go, same again. What happened in 2021? But we sort of plateaued on the violence against the persons in 2021. And there we go, same little dip, 2021. Okay, so let's just take a look at something. Who was in power over those years? So Tony Blair took over office as Prime Minister for Labour in 1997, and he was there until 2007, and then Gordon Brown took over in 2007 for the Labour Party until 2010. They were voted out by general election, and David Cameron became Prime Minister in 2010 till 2016. 2016, Theresa May took over. And so what we can see here is that in the first years of Tony Blair's reign, 97 to 2002, that the crime rates were significantly high at the because we can't look back at the moment further than 2002, but it stands to reason that during Tony Blair's reign here in 2002, the rates were right about the same, roughly here. I don't know, could have been higher, could have been just a little bit lower. But what we saw was that over Labour's reign, the crime rate drastically reduced. And then in 2010 till 2016, we start to see a slowing of that trend. In fact, we see like a quick jut up there about 2012, is it? So 2014, 2013, that's where we start to see the upward curve. Things have slowed right down now. The progress we were making, that's now come to a grinding halt. And now we're starting to see that rise again during the Conservative government that we've had over the last 10 years. And I mean, just the simple fact that the number of police recorded violence against the persons offences in England and Wales from 2002 to 2022 there. 2014, it just skyrockets. I can't believe how badly that goes up. Who was that? Who was on 2? I think my mouse has just died. Give me a second, folks. Yeah, I think my mouse is about to die. I'm going to have to get another battery ready. So, 2014. That's David Cameron. Then Theresa May. I mean, yeah, it's gone. My mouse is gone. Give me a second. Right. It's working. So what we can say is during those times where the crime rates start to go up again, that's during the Conservative government. It stands to reason that Tony Blair and Gordon Brown were bringing those crime rates down during the Labour government. I mean, the statistics are there, they don't lie. Now, what we've actually seen is a rise in child knife crime, but we've also seen a massive reduction in policing and police funding. One thing that I have noticed from some statistics, I don't actually have them here lined up, But one of the things that I did notice in some statistics that have recently been published by the government is that white people seem to be, Asian people are on the lower side of people being victims. White people are in the middle, but black people are the most likely to be like assaulted or murdered, stabbed, that sort of thing. What I've also seen is that the majority of those murders or stabbings or attacks are also from other black people. White on white crime in the UK is more prevalent than white on black crime, but black on black crime is way more prevalent than any other crime. The other thing is that black and Asians actually make up over 60% of the overall violent crime. Whereas white people are 70% of the indictable convictions. So what that tells me is, although the majority of the people who are being arrested for violent criminal offences are black and Asian, white people are being convicted at higher rates. Now combine that with the lack of policing. There's no consequences. There's consequences for white people, but there's no consequences for people of colour, Asians, blacks. Doesn't seem to be any consequences. And so this whole gang culture thing is just allowed to fester. And it's not just black kids. I mean, white kids are trying to emulate black kids, you know, in playgrounds and on the street. This whole black hip-hop gang culture. You dickheads. That's all you are, is you just look like dickheads to the rest of the world. And you think that you're impressing people at your school. Half these people, like, I'm talking just to the kids now, yeah? Like the teenagers who are still in high school. You think that you're impressing people. And half these people that you think that you're impressing, you're not going to know them in 20 years. And you're going to think differently, and you're going to think, Jesus Christ, I was a bit of a dickhead back then, carrying a knife around like that. But you thought you were a bad man, didn't you? You thought you were a road man, a gangster, a G. You're not. You're a dickhead. If you carry a weapon around with you, with the intent of using it for intimidation and violence because someone fucking disrespected you, you're a dickhead. You got no intellect. You can't fight with your words, so you just pull out a fucking knife. And that's why you pull out a knife as well, because you can't fight with your fucking fists. It's pathetic. So what are we going to do about it? Well, I don't fucking know. I don't think that the Conservative government are going to survive this next election. I mean, just look here. Since Theresa May, there's been three prime ministers in as many years, and two of those were in the same year. They were appointed in the same year. I mean, Liz Truss and fucking Kwasi Kwarteng and their magical mystery tour of economics. Jesus Christ. But I mean, look, I'm saying to you right now, Liz Truss and Rishi Sunak and Boris Johnson, they got the shitty end of the stick, because by the time they'd got into power, things were already way out of control with regards to crime rates anyway. I mean, it's truly tragic what's happened. Yeah, look, black people 4 times as likely as white people to be murdered. ONS data. This is another thing, right? Where was it? Racial, but this pisses me off the way that this is dressed up. Racial disparity, yeah? Like more white people should be getting murdered. What? Racial disparity. Like, it's not like this is a good thing. It's not like we're benefiting from not being murdered by black people. You want to stop black people being murdered? Have a word with black people, because they're the ones who are killing the majority of black people. Okay, the fucking statistics show it. It's all freely available on the government websites and Statista and ONS. And The Guardian and The Sun, they're also happy to report these statistics. It's like, come on. You gotta seriously start having a word with yourself and being honest about things. Have a word with your kids. Cut all this fucking gang culture shit out. Make sure your kid's not got any knives in their backpack before you fuck them off to school. Make sure that they know the dangers, that sometimes you might actually meet someone who knows how to disarm you, and then they might use the fucking knife on you. It's not a disparity. It's not like we're benefiting from it. It's not like we're getting more money out of something than black people. This is, black people are more likely to be murdered than white people. And the reason is because black people murder black people. The rates for black on black crime are way higher than for white on black crime or Asian on black crime. And the same is true reversed. If you get what I mean. Scratch that. Reverse it. Anyway. I guess people need to stop, politicizing these children's murders. It's not about black people. It's not about white people. It's not about trans people. It's about kids thinking that this is cool to carry around weapons and act like little badasses and bully someone to the extent that they think that it's acceptable to plunge a knife into them because someone disrespected you. Dickheads. Absolute dickheads. Anyway, if you did like that segment, don't forget, you can please like, comment and subscribe. Click the bell, click the icon, leave a comment down below, and leave a comment down below and share the stream. So that's where we're going to leave that segment. So old Jimmy Krankie, old Nicola fucking Sturgeon, she's resigned. Let's just get rid of some of these Brianna ones. Rest in peace, Brianna. I'm sorry this happened to you. You were just a kid. And all these ones that I've pointed out as well, they're just kids. Okay, they're just children. You know, what's happened to my glasses now? Bit skewy. I have to wear them because of the bright lights. And if I take them off, you know, like in X-Men, you know, Cyclops, Scott. Yeah, if I take my glasses off, it'll be game over. I've already broke one TV. Anyway. Nicola Sturgeon, Prime Minister of Scotland. Scotland's Premier. Who is she? What is she? Where does she come from? Well, she's resigned, and a lot of people are clapping their fucking hands together because, you know, she's a wokey. There's no other way to say it. She's a true wokey. All the rags have been out defending her, you know, like Rishi Sunak's come out and he's and paid tribute to her and, you know, said some nice things. A lot of other people have not been saying nice things about her. I saw Count Dankula's video the other day talking about it. Like, as soon as it happened, he had a video out about it. And, yeah, you should go and check that out, Count Dankula. I think it was on his Electric Boogaloo. Count Dankula 2, Electric Boogaloo. Go check it out. Anyway, we're going to get into it. It's your girl. Nicola Sturgeon says, time is right to resign as Scotland's First Minister. I know nothing about Scottish politics. I know nothing about what's going on up there, by the way. So don't let me fool you. I'm not trying to pretend that I know what's going on in Scottish politics, because I don't. But apparently she's been a bit of a bastard. Nicola Sturgeon has announced she's resigning as Scotland's First Minister after more than 8 years in the role. The Scottish National Party leader said she knew in my head and my heart this was the right time to step down. Miss Sturgeon said that she would remain in office until her successor was elected. She's the longest serving First Minister and the first woman to hold the position. Miss Sturgeon insisted her resignation was not in response to the latest period of pressure, which has included controversies over gender reforms, trans prisoners, and the strategy on independence. Because they've just had a bid to have another referendum on Scottish independence. I think they've been told no, they can't. They can't have that. And of course, obviously, you've got the double rapist who was put into a female detention centre after a man who raped 2 women and then pretended to be a woman in order to get a lighter sort of punishment at a women's prison. Also putting him in direct contact with other women that he could penetrate with his penis, that you could see through his, you know, leggings. It was ridiculous. Anyway, she had not had... Put my teeth back in. She acknowledged there had been choppy waters, but said her decision had come from a deeper and longer term assessment. Since the very first moment in the job, I have believed that part of serving well would be to know almost instinctively when the time is right to make way for someone else, she said. And when that time came, to have the courage to do so, even if many across the country and in my party might feel it too soon. In my head and my heart, I know that the time is now. That it is right for me, for my party and for my country. And so today I am announcing my intention to step down as First Minister and leader of my party. Well, at least he wasn't as bad as the. At least he wasn't as bad as the Theresa May or the country that I love. That was sad. Not in like a boo-hoo sad way, in like a oh my god, this is cringe. A country that I love. Anyway. Yeah, people in Govan Hill react to the news of Nicola Sturgeon's resignation.
Despite being First Minister, she's been really present in our community the last couple of years, which is really impressive considering all the things that have been going on. I think it's a shock to us as much as everyone else, but you know, the idea that a politician has had enough, I think Jacinda Ardern in New Zealand really set a precedent for saying, you know, politicians are human beings and sometimes the time comes, and when the time comes, it's better to step aside than to stay past your welcome or past the time when you feel like you can give as much as you need to politics. And if that's what Nicola Sturgeon has decided, I think we have to respect that.
I'm pleased. That's a genuine, honest truth. I think she's been a liability to Scotland. I think she's been an embarrassment to Scotland, to be honest. Her constituency, if you want to talk locally, is a disgrace. Pest control.
Well, she's been in power for so long. I remember one of the SNP's key pledges was to eradicate child poverty, which they've totally failed on. So I think there does need to be change to actually carry out what the SNP said they would do.
And my reaction is sad, I suppose. I really support Nicola Sturgeon. I'm very pro-independence and I stand on the same side of her when it comes to trans rights.
So what do you think this will mean for the SNP going forward in terms of trans rights?
So when you say that you stand on the same side as her with trans rights, you agree with her decision to not let a trans woman go into a woman's jail. You agree with that? I'm just making sure. Just making sure, that's all.
I think that trans rights are human rights and they're not going anywhere. So
human rights are human rights, okay? Trans rights are already encompassed in British law, in human rights law, okay? What you're asking for is extra rights. You don't get any more rights than everybody else, sorry. Just because you choose to fuck someone else, or you fuck a different gender. You want to be a different gender. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how you feel inside. The reason why we have clear-cut law is so that it can apply to everybody, regardless of skin colour or whether you're one of the two genders that exist.
That's a fight that will continue regardless of who's in power.
Are you a supporter of Nicola Sturgeon's?
I used to be, and then seen with the way, like, around here with the way the bins are, the mice, and the way the situation with rats and that, it's a nightmare.
If it weren't for the rats, you wouldn't have anything to eat, mate.
Too much on that, the independence, rather than our own parts, really.
So there's fucking tons of rats around here, and it's fucking. I don't really know. Hey, say, you got any crack?
Yeah, I'm quite standing obviously because like she's been here for I think nearly 8 years. I saw, so like I think she was good. I think she was a good leader. So I'm just not sure like what's going to happen next, obviously, and obviously it's quite sudden as well. I didn't expect it to happen.
I think now basically it's the time for her to go. She's
right. That last bloke, right? She's been in power for 8 years. I'm willing to bet he was 10 years old, or around there when she came into power. He wasn't interested in politics probably for at least another 4 years. So he's only known 4 years of her reign. Yeah, let's just finish it off.
It's other time being the First Minister and maybe like a fresh, someone fresh just to come in and take the country forward. Definitely.
Okie dokie. So yeah, she stepped down. Some people are happy, some people are not. She said that she wanted to sort of take some time for herself. She missed being able to do things that lots of other people take for granted, that the life of being a prime minister is very public. You can't go to like a coffee shop or, you know, just take a walk in the park. You know, it's not the same thing. So she's saying that she, you know, she wants to focus on something that's outside of politics now. And good. I think she needs to as well. And comparing her to Jacinda Ardern, no, Jacinda Ardern I would compare more closely to Hitler or Stalin, someone like that. I mean, she hasn't directly murdered or called for the murder or genocide of anyone. I understand that. But that's because we obviously wouldn't stand for that kind of shit in this day and age, would we? But the draconian measures and just the absolute gaslighting and brainwashing over the whole COVID and vaccinations thing, I think there's a special place in hell for Jacinda Ardern. So I'm not really sure about Jimmy Krankie over here. I'm not really sure whether they deserve the same treatment. But she is a wokey, so I'm not really hearing great things about the things that she's done. To resign on Tuesday, so that was the other day. Yeah, look, so like her gender reform bill is just the latest example of how out of touch she is with ordinary Scottish people's priorities. Instead of putting rapists into female prisons, she must resign so the country can move on. The First Minister will speak at a hastily arranged press conference from her residence at Bute House in Edinburgh at 11 a.m. When was this? That was yesterday. It comes 8 years after she took on the role, succeeding Alex Salmond. Yeah. Okay. Let's look at who's going to replace her. Already seen why she wants to step down. Yeah, look again. They're talking about Jacinda Ardern. When Jacinda Ardern resigned as New Zealand's Prime Minister a few weeks ago, Nicola Sturgeon assured voters she still had plenty left in the tank, yet apparently Scotland's First Minister had been thinking about her own future for some time. She said so in her resignation speech on Wednesday, which came as a surprise to much of Scotland. Despite a recent and consistent wave of difficulty and controversy over the gender recognition reform bill, the quest for another independence referendum, a finance investigation into the SNP, and an ongoing ferry fiasco, there was no clear indication that Sturgeon was going to quit. Having been in Parliament since the age of 29 and Scotland's leader since 2014, Sturgeon is both the first female and longest-serving First Minister. She said she will stay on her until her successor is elected, but that successor will inherit a government wrestling with several controversies and constitutional questions. Sturgeon's life mission of Scottish independence remains unfulfilled, and Scotland is deeply divided about IndyRef 2. Recent polls have shown support for independence, but there are indications that support may be slipping away in light of the ongoing challenges the SNP-led Scottish government. in light of the ongoing challenges facing the SNP-led Scottish government. Yeah, okay. So the future of Indie Ref 2, the three Conservative Prime Ministers, Theresa May, Boris Johnson, Rishi Sunak, have all refused to grant the Scottish Parliament authority to hold another independence referendum, saying now is not the time. Look, why not? Let them have it. Let them have their independence. If they really want it, they'll vote for it. Just let them have the referendum. Why are we holding back on this? That it's been reported that that's something that they want. Why not let them have it? Don't you remember? It happened a few hundred years ago. They wanted their independence, and we gave it to them, and then they fucked it all up for themselves, and they came back cap in hand, and then we were like, fine, yeah, you can come back, but, you're going to have to be, a bit filthier. You're going to have to do some things that you didn't do before. You know what I mean? You're going to have to really sort of work for your crust now. And so that's what happened. Give them their independence. Let them vote on it. Let them become an independent nation. Let them live off of their own taxes and their own money alone. Let them have it. Come back cap in hand. Anyway. And the Supreme Court ruled in November that the Scottish Parliament does not have the authority to hold a referendum on independence without Westminster's permission. As I said, come back cap in hand. And now you're kind of beholden to us. This has led to a divide within the Scottish National Party about how to achieve independence. Sturgeon had announced her Plan C was to approach the next general election as a de facto referendum on independence. Right, okay, I see what you were trying to do there. So if the SNP were voted out, then we wouldn't have a referendum, or we weren't having Scottish independence. But if they were voted back in, that says to the Scottish people that we definitely want to have a independence. Okay, I get you. Yeah. This was met with mixed reactions from within the SNP, other nationalist movements and wider public. SNP MP Stuart MacDonald was particularly vocal, highlighting this move as damaging for the independence movement. Alex Salmond's Alba Party has also been very critical of the plan. However dominant the SNP has been in Scottish politics over the last decade, it has never secured more than 50% of the votes cast in Scotland at any UK general election. No party has achieved this level of support in Scotland since the 50s, although the SNP came very close in its landslide UK general election of 2015. Not winning 50% of the vote at next election would mean the SNP has difficult questions to answer about Plan C and the future of the independence discussion. Sturgeon's resignation opens the door for a reconsideration of this approach. So anyway, so they're going for the independence sort of, play. Really go for it. I'm really interested to see how that one plays out for you. I'm all for it. You know what I mean? Go Scottish independence, please. Just get it over and fucking done with. You already had one, ain't you? You already had one vote on referendum, yeah, on independence, and it didn't go your way, so you're having another one. It's the same as the fucking the Ramonas, yeah. Oh well, it didn't go our way. Can we have another one? No, you fucking can't. We're out. Brexit happened. Deal with it. Sturgeon's no-nonsense direct approach is a reason why she remains one of the most admired politicians in the UK. Come on, fuck off. She has commanded a level of positive support that few others, especially the several Conservative Prime Ministers who have come and gone under her tenure could match. Come on. Under her leadership, the SNP has dominated parliamentary elections in Scotland, whether for Holyrood or for Westminster. The SNP has been the party of government in Scotland for the past 15 years. Sturgeon has been the face for the past 8, and she underlined in her resignation speech that she has come to represent these issues and debates in the public eye. By stepping down, she appears to hope that this will allow for more reasonable debate around the issues that Scotland faces and the aim of independence that the SNP cherishes. And that was an article by The Conversation. I'm not going to go into too much more about, so this is like what happens next. I just want to get to who they're saying might take over. Yeah, because a lot of this is just repeating things that have already been reported on. There doesn't appear to be an obvious successor in the way of Nicola Sturgeon was for Alex Salmond, so the party faces a potentially bloody leadership race as the runners and riders target the top job. A small faction from within the party has been critical of the First Minister's approach to independence, and more recently the government's push for gender reforms. Oh, I've read that a little bit wrong. Never mind. Yada yada. Who's going to come in? Come on. Okay, so William Hill. There are bookies, bookmakers, betting shop. They've ranked Constitution Secretary Angus Robertson as first place in the race to succeed the First Minister. That's this dude here. That's your man. Angus Robertson. Currently the bookies' favourite. Mr. Robertson, a former MP who led the party at Westminster, is among one of the most powerful people in the party and would certainly be considered a possibility for the top if he took the decision to run. Finance Secretary Kate Forbes is another mentioned as a potential successor and is due back from maternity leave in the coming weeks. Ms. Forbes has been a rising star within the party since being thrust into the limelight to deliver the budget in 2020 after her predecessor Derek Mackay resigned in disgrace. But the Finance Secretary is believed to be at odds with the party's position over a number of social issues, including the push for gender reform, a vote she missed while on maternity leave. Health Secretary Hamza Yousaf may also take a run at the leadership, having long been considered as a possibility, although the controversial passage of the Hate Crime and Public Order in Scotland Act when he was Justice Secretary, and the ongoing crisis in the NHS while he has been Health Secretary could dent his chances. When will we know? Short answer is we do not know. The details of the leadership race will be decided by the SNP's National Executive Committee and have not yet been announced. The SNP have not run a leadership contest for almost 2 decades, with Alex Salmond and his deputy Nicola Sturgeon taking power in 2004. What's next for Nicola Sturgeon? The First Minister will continue on from the backbenches at least until 2026 in the Holyrood election. She said to journalists, her announcement on Wednesday, she planned to continue to campaign on criminal justice reforms, improving the experience of young people in care, and Scottish independence, of course. Of course. Ms. Sturgeon told Vogue magazine. Okay. Ms. Sturgeon also told Vogue magazine in 2021 she would consider becoming a foster parent when her time in office was over. Ah, well, that's noble. Good for you. I'd be very worried about what you're gonna fucking indoctrinate this kid with, all these terrible fucking ideas about trans rights and Scottish independence. But, you know, that's your right as a parent. I'm going to indoctrinate my kid with what I think is right, and you're going to indoctrinate your kid with what you think is right. If only you'd have had kids in time instead of becoming Prime Minister. No, it might be too late. Shame. That's what happens to some of them, though. Career takes over. Everyone's being told that, or all the girls are being told, you don't need no man. You can be a strong, independent woman. You can be a boss babe. You can be a movie star. You can be a singing star, an X Factor. You know, I mean, you don't have to work. You don't have to do all the things that generations of women did before. You know, this is a different time. You can be a boss girl. You can have a career. Ah, great. Can I have a family? Yeah, kind of. You could have kids, but you wouldn't have time to spend with them. Oh, I just won't have kids then. Yeah, but then you'll probably grow up to feel really empty inside, not having fulfilled your primary function in life. You know. And I guess that's where we're going to leave that section, boys and girls. Just a quick look into the resignation of Nicola Sturgeon. What's going to happen next? Where do we go from here? I couldn't give a shit. Give them their independence. Let them fuck off. Let them have it. Let's just get over it now. Loads of people are happy by the fact that she's fucked off. All the wokies are sad because now they haven't got a puppet to play their identity politics. So it is what it is. If you did like that section, don't forget you can like, subscribe, click the bell, comment down below, share the video. Job's a good one. What time is it? 9:25. Don't forget you can check out my Substack as well. I will be updating that soon with a piece that I'm doing about the Ohio train derailment. I'm also looking into some research about Norfolk Southern Rail. You can also catch me on Twitter at JackTarLad. Here I am. This is me. Right here. I said earlier that, because someone tweeted out this about there being another derailment, and I said earlier that train derailments have been hyper-reported right now because of the Ohio crash, you know. But there were just over 1,000 derailments last year, 2022, all across the US, and you hardly heard of a fucking one. So, you know, just think about that. Oh, that Melanie Max situation. Jesus Christ. So this guy, yeah, stalks this girl. There's a video on his YouTube channel saying about how this could be your potential. Going through this plan of going to this like convention that she's appearing at. Yeah, she's attending this convention. She goes there. He's made this video saying, I'm going to go down there in my camper van. I'm going to sort of wait in the car park. He's talking about how she could be like potentially his wife, you know. And he goes in there, speaks to her, and it's like this awkward interaction from what I've heard. Anyway, it was this awkward interaction. It wasn't the feet sweeping, romantic scene that it could have been. It wasn't like, Romeo and Juliet. It's almost like, he had this beautiful poem lined up, and just as he was about to give this speech or this poem that was going to sweep her off her feet, like someone threw a fucking ball across the room, and it just so happened entered into his mouth, and he started choking. And then she walks away, I better get away from this situation. It was kind of like that. I'm not entirely sure that that's what happened. I'm just kind of making that up, but it was kind of like this awkward situation where he went to make his move, and she was just like, okay, see ya. I mean, he was hoping that he was going to get into this big conversation and that they were going to have this whole, this chance meeting, and like she was going to fall in love with him because he was already in love with her, you see. Like he's already in love with her. In his head, he's already made it. This is going to be my future wife. And she was just not into him. Not into him at all. Anyway, so on that day, I think she had to be like escorted somewhere else because apparently this guy was sort of waiting outside in his camper van like some fucking creepy stalker. Anyway, so she comes out with a video and she, explains all this situation that happened. And from that, obviously, some of her fans, although she never asked them to, some of her fans have gone away and they've started doing stuff like doxing this guy and, threatening him perhaps, or just saying to him, you really need to leave this girl alone. She hasn't been asking them to do that, but I'm absolutely positive that there are some of her fans which have done that. But that's not her fault. She's not asking them to do it. She's just reporting on what's happening. Anyway, so since then, the other day, he submitted a court complaint to bring her in onto this Zoom meeting call because he's trying to get a restraining order on her because of all of the backlash that he's getting off her fans. And so he's applied for a restraining order. She had to go into this Zoom meeting type, court case hearing. The judge completely threw it out anyway because she could see that it was just stupid. All she's doing is talking on the internet. She's not calling for anybody to do anything to this guy. She just wants him to leave her alone. That's all she wants, is for him to leave her alone. But no, she threw it out. The judge threw it out and he's appealed. So now he's just dragging it out. And it's doing more harm to her, and he knows this as well. He's just a sick fuck, and he's got to make it all about him. The simple gaslighting of this situation, trying to make out like she's the fucking stalker, like she's the problem. She doesn't want to have anything to do with you. You keep fucking harassing her. Leave her the fuck alone, right? One thing I will say, Melanie, is there was that one comment, I think, in your, attached to your video, and it was saying about how restraining orders don't really work and you need to, fucking practice your quick draw, basically. Because if he ever comes and you have to defend yourself, don't hesitate. Pop a cap in his ass in Minecraft. No, pop a cap in his ass. It's your constitutional right. Okay? You can shoot that fucker and there's no problem with that. Because he came to your house. He gave you grief. Just pop, pop, pop. Be the end of your problems. But it is weird that he tried to get the restraining order against you. And if it had been successful, that would have meant that you'd have been disarmed and unable to protect yourself. That is scary. Anyway, I know I've gone on a bit. I just wanted to highlight it since I saw it on the feed there. Anyway, the next subject. The next subject. What are we talking about? So, I don't know whether you know. But in a little place called Knowsley near Liverpool, there was a big demonstration outside a local hotel. It kind of turned into a riot. A police van got burned. And the protest was about these migrants who are being housed on taxpayer money in a hotel. And basically, the reason why is because a young girl was approached by one of the men who is suspected to be living in the hotel. A 25-year-old man, he approached this 15-year-old schoolgirl on her way home from school, I guess. And since then, there was this demonstration. It goes a little bit deeper than that. It's not just this one isolated incident. We'll get into it in a minute. First of all, we're going to take a look at what actually happened. Where's it gone? My apologies. Give me a second. Okay. So this is a video of some of the disorder. So you can see they're very angry in that video there. And here you go, it says far-right protesters clash with police at Merseyside hotel housing asylum seekers. Here's another video.
The nonsense out!
Jesus Christ. Here you go. This is the video that's been sort of circulated.
God won't let you near it. They're all hiding inside. Proper good mob here. Loads here, mate. Absolutely loads. Big turnout.
Big turnout.
Are you busies coming down the road?
Busies. It's the police.
Everyone's gonna start getting nicked now.
Weg, zeg dan de nonsens, je weet dat!
You can see nonce written on the side of the police van there. Here's another one. That looks like it was taken from inside the hotel, that does. So you can hear them. They're angry. They're, you know, shouting about nonces. They're shouting about paedophiles. Why is that exactly? Well, it turns out it starts with this here. Well, it doesn't exactly start with this, but this was the straw that broke the camel's back. So this young girl here was approached, 15 by the way, was approached by a 25-year-old man asking if she wanted to have sex. The young girl started recording on her video the interaction between them, and she makes it quite clear she's 15, and she asks how old he is, and he says he's 25, and he says it's okay to have sex, and she's like, no, it's not, this isn't okay in our country, this isn't okay. So here you go, you can have a look at it now.
How old are you?
25.
25. I'm only 15.
Okay, good.
That's not good.
I want
No, sorry.
What's up?
You don't do this in this country. It's you go to jail if you do this. No, you're alright. No. I'm 15. No, that's weird.
See, she's...
How old are you?
Fair play to the girl.
25. I'm only 15.
Fair play to the girl. What a head on her. I'm only 15. You know what I mean? And she's fronting up to him there. It's like, no way, this is creepy. What the fuck are you doing? We don't do this in our country. I mean, she's being far more polite about it than I would be. It's that same video again. just a little bit smaller. There's the same police van on fire again. Okay. Oh yeah, there's that video again.
No, you're alright. No. How old are you?
25.
25. I'm only 15.
Okay, good.
That's not good.
I want your husband.
No, sorry.
What's up?
You don't do this in this country. It's you go to jail if you do this.
Please, I want.
No, no, you're alright. No. I'm 15. No. No, that's... How old are you?
So yeah.
25. I'm only 15.
Okay.
Liverpool Echo. Schoolgirl approached by suspicious man as police hunt for suspect. A video appearing to show the incident has been shared widely online. A schoolgirl was allegedly approached by a man who made inappropriate comments. The incident, which was caught on camera and shared on social media, shows a man speaking to a teenage girl in Kirkby. It's believed that the 15-year-old girl was approached around 4:40 near Kirkby Leisure Centre. Police are now appealing for information after the suspicious incident. Suspicious? Come on. You call that suspicious? It's blatant. Oh, hang on. It's absolutely blatant. Officers would like to find the girl who left the scene and the man. It's believed that members of the public contacted police after the girl left. They described the suspect. That doesn't make sense. Did no one fucking proofread this? They described the suspect is described as tanned. 5 foot 7 inches, tall, slim, with black hair. That's not ambiguous at all. He was wearing that. You see the video and the photograph. That's a much better identification. Just put his photo in the article. Ta-da! Where was I? Yeah, we saw what he was wearing. A man matching his description was stopped by officers nearby and inquiries are ongoing. Detective Inspector Alan Wood said, "We are still looking to establish the circumstances of this incident and we need to identify and speak to the girl concerned. If you are the parent or carer of someone who came home yesterday and mentioned similar, please come forward so that we can investigate fully and provide the necessary reassurance to young people in the area." I bet you, with just a couple of minutes on a few OSINT websites, I'd be able to find out precisely who that girl was. I'm just using a free website. And the police are still looking for them. Okay. Schoolgirl had panic attacks after being approached by a suspicious man. A teenage girl went home and suffered panic attacks after she was allegedly approached on her way home from school. The Echo reported on a video. Yeah, we've seen that. Man, yada yada. Can I take your photo and your number? That's what he asked her. She was leaving school and walking home when he just approached her and asked her, "Can I take your photo and your number?" He saw her getting her phone out and she started videoing him, but he thought she was giving him her number. She was scared at the time, even though she acted brave. She asked how old he was. Yeah, he said he was 25. She said he was 15. He said he didn't care, and she walked away in a different direction. So they have identified her now. So the 50-year-old mum added she is in her final year of school and is doing her GCSEs. She came home and had panic attacks. It's really impacted her, and she shouldn't have to go through this. No child should have to go through this. She's having thoughts of what could have happened. She's only a kid at the end of the day. It's affected her. Imagine what would have happened in the nighttime. Detective Inspector Alan Wood said, "We are still looking to establish Yeah, I've already read that. That was in the last one. Yada yada." So here's the Daily Mail. Revealed. Video that sparked migrant hotel riot. Clip of schoolgirl 15 being hassled for her phone number by a man 25. Yada yada. So a violent riot outside a migrant hotel last night was sparked by fury over an online video of a schoolgirl. She said she was sexually harassed by a 25-year-old man. Goes on to speak about the clip, what's in it. The clip was viewed 150,000 times on Twitter and was retweeted by far-right activists who said the man was staying at the hotel and called migrants staying in there scum. Here you go, here's another video. It's about a minute long. I mean, you can see that they're fucking annoyed at this, you know, or at least some people are. There's a fucking van on fire, a police van on fire. Loads of people kicking off. That you could see the amount of people that were there. People are not happy about this at all. Anyway. One of the people said, "Dumping illegal migrants here is unfathomable. Liverpool will burn in anger." Last night, protesters descended on Kirkby, setting fire to a police van, chanting, "Get them out, this is our city." Police were pelted with missiles and forced to wear protective clothing, including riot gear, shields and helmets. A total of 15 people have been arrested following the violent disorder last night, a spokesperson for the Merseyside police said. Care for Calais charity members at the scene said they were trapped and accused hotel staff of not allowing them inside to escape the chaos on Facebook. The refugee charity wrote, "As I write this, I am trapped in a hotel car park in my home city of Liverpool, surrounded by a violent mob of far-right thugs. Tonight that mob came to this hotel, the Suites in Knowsley, which is currently being used to house refugees who are victims of torture and war, to protest at the presence of refugees in the city. They say that they did this to defend the British way of life. In fact, they set fire to a police van, attacked the police, and then tried to attack our peaceful counter-protest. Attacking those who uphold the country's laws seems a funny way to defend said country. With friends like this, the British way of life might ask itself, who needs enemies?" Knowsley MP Sir George Howarth said the demonstration was triggered by an alleged incident. It's not alleged, it's actual fact. On social media, adding, "Until the police have investigated the matter, it's too soon to jump to conclusions, and the effort on the part of some way to inflame the situation is emphatically wrong. If an offence has been committed, the police should deal with it appropriately through due process." The girl's mother claimed her daughter had panic attacks, which we just read. I'm not going to show any more videos. So you can see this is all being dressed up as this was far-right racist protesters. They came to protest against refugees who have been housed there, who've come from war-torn areas, and this is absolute bollocks, okay? Make no mistake, the people being housed in those fucking hotels are not refugees. They are illegal migrants, people who are there because we can't identify them, we can't figure out what to do with them, and we can't keep them in the lockup at Calais, and we can't keep them other places in a lockup, so we have to house them because our laws, our national laws, they also conflict with international human rights laws, which has called Rishi Sunak recently to want to pull the UK out of the Human Rights Act, or the Human Rights Convention, which is shared by multiple countries across the world. I mean, we know for a fact now that the majority of these people that are coming over on the dinghies are, you know, working military age, young men from places like Albania and stuff like that. And they are not from war-torn countries because they came from fucking France. They had to have got to France before they got to England. They were not persecuted in France. They had no right to come into this country. They just chancing it, and this is what they're doing now. This is an attack on the UK. It's an infiltration. It's an invasion. Okay? We need to get rid of these people as quickly as possible. Right? I'm totally against housing them on taxpayer money. I'm totally against fucking keeping them in the country any minute longer than they need to. They need to be fucked back off home. Okay? They are not refugees, and all you wokies who are fucking saying that they're refugees, they're not illegal immigrants, you are wrong. Okay, they are defined as illegal immigrants. They came into the country illegally. They cannot apply for asylum if they're coming from a country that is not war-torn. Okay, they cannot apply for asylum here if they are not coming from some kind of persecution. You're not coming from persecution if you're in Albania, and you're most certainly not coming from a persecution if you're crossing the border from fucking France. Okay, you can stay in France. But no, you know that the French won't fucking put up with it, so you're chancing it over here. This is an invasion, make no mistake about it. One of the things that has come up... Oh, and it's not just... This sort of shit just isn't happening in England. It's happening in France. Yeah, look at this one. Teen steps in to prevent the rape of a 13-year-old girl. Alleged attacker is migrant with 11 prior convictions. A 49-year-old Algerian migrant with a series of criminal convictions was arrested after a teenager stopped him as he was allegedly trying to rape a 13-year-old girl in a suburb of a French city in Bordeaux. The incident took place in Senon on the outskirts of Bordeaux and saw the 49-year-old Algerian migrant approach the 13-year-old on the street. The girl was reportedly on the phone with her mother at the time. According to Frederic Portery, public prosecutor in Bordeaux, the Algerian came running towards her, grabbed her, pushed her, and knocked her down before pulling her by her hair and running his hand through her trousers. The newspaper Le Figaro reports. The Algerian then sat on top of the girl and attempted to force her into performing oral sex on him, and then strangled her. The girl was only able to escape after another teenager, a young man, intervened and was himself assaulted by the migrant. Here's another one. Father investigated for assault of migrant accused of molesting his 6-year-old daughter. French prosecutors in Rouen have opened an investigation after the father of a 6-year-old girl allegedly assaulted a 16-year-old girl migrant accused of sexually abusing the girl after breaking into their family home. The investigation was launched this week following the assault, which the father of the young girl admitted to after he had learned the migrant had been allegedly abusing his daughter. "I beat him," the man said, and told the broadcaster BFM TV, "I shouldn't have done it, but I don't regret any case for doing it. Fortunately, my friends were there and I was lucid enough to call the police. Otherwise, it's very possible that I went further." I want to take a look at this Reddit article here. It's called it says the neo-Nazis behind the Knowsley riot, patriotic alternative. So it sounds to me like a whole bunch of like concerned parents, old ladies, old men, grandparents, parents, mothers, fathers, you know, they turned out for this demonstration, but they were also infiltrated by this group called Patriotic Alternative, and those apparently are the ones that caused the majority of aggression and violence on the night. So just going to go through some of this. So you probably, it's a post by Ashamed Brit 5 days ago. The neo-Nazis behind the Knowsley riot, patriotic alternative. You've probably heard about the protest turned riot in Knowsley, Merseyside yesterday. In case you haven't, a large group of people turned out to protest outside a hotel housing asylum seekers, and it quickly turned into a riot with a police van being burned. You may or may not have heard of the people and group that inflamed tensions in order to start it, Patriotic Alternative. They are an outright and open white supremacist and fascist that want an ethno-nationalist state. The biggest fascist movement in the UK. Their founder, Mark Collett, has referred in the past to homosexuals as AIDS monkeys, called asylum seekers cockroaches, and has described Hitler's Nuremberg rallies as something that one would have been proud to have been a part of. He cross-promotes with former KKK leader David Duke, having been on his show and had Duke on some of his. PA's deputy leader and Defend Evropa blogger Laura Towler has written a series on the website about so-called white genocide. Members of the neo-Nazi group have been dropping banners, delivering speeches and leaflets, and otherwise organising in Knowsley for a while. Let's just take a look at this image. It says here, PA activists were out in Knowsley, Liverpool to protest the housing of hundreds of migrants in the Suites Hotel. After a banner drop speech outside the hotel, enthusiastic activists from PA Merseyside branch went on to deliver over 200 leaflets in the local area. And you can see that those are the leaflets by the look of it. They took similar action in They took similar actions in Bishop Stortford, Hertfordshire last month. There's an article apparently. Let's take a look. I reject your reality and substitute my own. There we go. Listen to this article. Okay, I'll bite.
Police investigate race hate leaflets distributed in Bishop Stortford. Police are investigating the distribution of 1,000 leaflets intended to stir up racial hatred in the Bishop's Stortford area. The flyers, targeting refugees, were printed and promoted by a British far-right white nationalist and fascist group. Patriotic Alternative, founded in September 2019 by Mark Collett and now run by him and Laura Towler, describes itself as a community-building and activism group to raise awareness of issues such as the demographic decline of native Britons in the United Kingdom, the environmental impact of mass immigration and the indoctrination and political bias taking place in British schools. The leaflets highlight the use of the Great Hallingbury Manor Hotel as a haven for refugees. On Twitter, Patriotic Alternative boasted 7 activists targeted the...
Well, there you go. I'm not going to go into it too much. And you can see, again, there's another link here. More flyers. And someone looking very Hitlerish up on that podium there. Jesus Christ. Anyway. They have been preparing for riots and physical confrontations on the streets since their inception. Chris Kearns, a Scouser, facing a possible 15 years for allegedly inciting violence and spreading the manifestos of Anders Breivik, and Brenton Tarrant, the Christchurch shooter, now runs PA's fitness club, where they undertake combat training. They claim to have regional groups in East Midlands, Eastern London, North East, North West, Northern Ireland, Scotland, South East, South West Wales, West Midlands and Yorkshire. Although it's hard, that's like the entire country, okay, come on. That's just like, they have factions in every city, okay? That's all you need to say there, you didn't need to go through all of that. The group hit the classic far-right notes. They believe and spread anti-Semitism, biological racism, the Great Replacement conspiracy, hate against the LGBTQ community, and as well as COVID vaccine conspiracies. Many of their members and speakers have histories of violence, hate crimes, and, as mentioned above, even links to terrorism. So, okay, so they're just saying basically these people are not so great. Too Long Didn't Read is Patriotic Alternative are the largest neo-Nazi hate group in the UK. They praise Hitler, they want ethno-national state, spread all kinds of anti-Semitic and racist conspiracies and have ties to terrorist groups. They are organised and they organised the protest turn riot in Knowsley, jumping on the concerns and prejudices of residents to stoke tensions. They have done so elsewhere before, and now having tasted what they will see as success, will do so again. Now, one of the things that I will say is that, so I did say that this was just, you know, mothers, fathers, grandfathers, grandmothers coming out, and their protest has been hijacked. There has been another report. Then the reason why I says at the very beginning of all of this with the video, it wasn't what sparked it, it was the straw that broke the camel's back. There's like a skate park nearby this hotel, and it's been known for about a couple of months that the men from this hotel have been going to the skate park, and they've been trying to lure, you know, girls back. They've been known to lure girls back, or at least attempt to, with like beer and stuff like that. In fact, I'm just want to try and find that on here actually. because there was a good video. Yeah, it's this. So
why do you have a problem with that migrant house?
So
Yes,
this is some.
They're saying terrible things.
This is some bloke talking to Nigel Farage here, by the look of it, on GB News. And so if you listen to this guy, for our American viewers, you're just going to have to bear with it. Take a look at the, the subtitles, and hopefully that should help you. But just listen to what he has to say. This is about 1 minute and 31 seconds long. So we're going to go through this. Here we go.
Ged, they're saying terrible things about your community. Why do you have a problem with that migrant hotel and the young men in it?
Well, first of all, we're not racist. Never have been. Liverpool for years has welcomed refugees, which everyone knows that. Most Scousers are immigrants anyway, we're Irish. So the reason this is...
Scousers are Liverpudlians, people from Liverpool, for our American viewers.
all come to a fore. It hasn't just happened with that one video. It's been going on for months where they've been in the coming from that hotel, going into the local skate park and trying to entice young girls with ale, different stuff. I don't live in those, I'm in Croxteth, but we're part of there. That night, the people that turned up were people, they were mums, dads, granddads, grandmothers, sisters, brothers. They were just there to say, we want people to listen to us and people to come onto the estate and start stopping this. Because it's going on, no one seems to be stopping it. They're all saying, yeah, we'll check it out, we'll do that. And, you know, why doesn't that care for Calais go and speak to the people? She's saying that our kids are vulnerable. We're all here for our kids. We all want our kids to be safe. We're vulnerable, our kids. Our kids can't go to school without getting enticed. There's a school in Knowsley Village. They've had to actually put netting up because the immigrants were standing looking through the fence at the kids.
See what I mean? And so this isn't just about being racist and being against illegal migrants and all that kind of shit. This is about parents being concerned for their children's welfare. The evidence is clear to the people living in the area of what's going on. They don't like it. And you've got all these fucking wokies turning around and saying, oh, you're racist, this and like you're anti-migrant, you're anti-LGBTQ. Fuck it. Fuck off. This has got nothing to do with racism. And just because the demographic of these fucking grooming pedos just so happens to be the same fucking demographic as what the people in the hotel are being kept, doesn't mean that it's racist. It means that they are dirty fucking grooming pedophiles and that they are trying to endanger our children. And it's all planned anyway. This is a planned invasion and we're letting it happen. And so people are having enough now and they're going out and they're protesting, and you've got fucking newspapers dressing it up like it's some far right problem. It's not. These issues often get hijacked by other organizations. Something's got to give at some point, and eventually it will. I mean, you saw how many people turned out for that riot. Yeah. If they'd have kicked off good and proper, they could have smashed those doors down to that fucking hotel and set it alight. I'm not saying that that's right. I'm not saying that it's the perfect solution. But I'm saying that it's a possibility that it could happen eventually because people are just going to have enough. Or people are going to start taking to the streets themselves and going down to places like the skate park and fucking them off themselves. It's come to a head now. People have had enough. It's not about racism. It's not about illegal migrants and their status as an asylum seeker or whatever. It's about them going and committing crimes in front of our very eyes and being ignored. You wonder why they're so angry. Their children are being traumatized. They're being groomed. They can't walk to and from school. They can't even go to school, by the sound of it, without being stared at by creepy fucking pedo illegal migrants. Yeah? I'm going there. I said it. Dirty fucking illegal immigrant fucking pedos, groomers who want to fuck little girls. Yeah? Who we're housing on our fucking taxpayer money. Something's got to give. And if it really does go up, I'm going to be on their side and not the migrant side. I'm going to be on the side of the fucking parents because I'm a parent. And that's where I guess I'm going to leave that segment. And the show, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a long journey tonight. But don't forget, it's not about politics, okay? It's about kids. That's pretty much what tonight's been about. Little Jimmy Krankie and the safety of our children. Too many children are into gang culture and the glorification of gang culture. They think that they're fucking big and clever and that they're impressive carrying a knife around and stabbing people because someone disrespected them. Bad man. Oh, bad man. Well, you're going to go to fucking jail now, ain't you? Jimmy Krankie stepped down, and we've got pedo fucking migrants harassing our kids on the way home from school and in their parks and at their school looking through the fucking fence at the school kids. Fuck off. Anyway, if you did like that section, don't forget, you can like, subscribe, click the bell, comment down below, share the video. Anyway, that is the end of the show. It's 10:15. I've run over by 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Keep an eye out on my Substack because I will be updating that with a piece about the Ohio train derailment. Keep an eye out on the Twitter because I'm constantly tweeting things, little things that I'm finding out, things that I'm interested in. And hopefully we won't have the same issue next Wednesday, so it'll be 8 o'clock Greenwich Mean Time, Wednesday, for another Wednesday night Broadside. And thank you for watching. Your support, as always, is, great. And I'm trying to build up the channel, so please share it, like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for joining me tonight. I'll see you again soon. Take care. Good night.